Today's episode is brought to you by our good friend and sponsor Brian Miller over at United Real Estate Chicago, the only realtor Mike and I trust when buying or selling a home. Links are in the description below.
Are you thinking about buying or selling a home? Or maybe you just have questions about the real estate market? Hi, I'm Brian Miller, and I'm a licensed real estate professional serving the Chicagoland area. People know to call me when they need a problem solved. Through research, troubleshooting, and asking the right questions, there isn't an issue that we can't overcome together. If you're buying, I'll help you find the home that fits your wants and needs. If you're ready to sell, my goal is to get your home in front of the masses and do everything it takes to net you the most money. Since entering the industry in 2014, I've experienced navigating various types of markets, as well as assisting clients with short sales, probates, and selling homes that have been sitting on the market. In other words, if you want to work with an award-winning real estate agent, make the process as easy and stress-free as possible, you've come to the right place. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm Brian Miller, and I can't wait to connect with you.
Hey, welcome to IMO In My Opinion with J&M. Jonathan. Oh, wait. Damn, I do this every week. I forget to turn off his microphone. Let me turn on his microphone.
It's all right.
How are you, sir?
Forget about me. How are you? Didn't you jack up your knee? You're all crippled up.
Yeah, man.
You're going to get inseminated on Monday?
Yeah, man. It's
Inseminated?
Sure. I might not be thinking about that clearly, but okay. Yeah, man, messed up my knee pretty bad. I actually messed up my knee, unlike you, who fakes injuries.
No. I just get muscle tissue.
I mean, I got to get an MRI on it, so hopefully.
You sneeze hard enough, and you have to get an MRI.
I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Yeah, sure it is.
How was your week, sir? It's Friday.
Oh,
it's probably payday. I don't know if it is, but it is for me.
No, so we get paid on Wednesday. It's so weird, right?
You get paid on Wednesdays?
It's weird.
That's insane.
I don't see my paycheck anyways.
That's true. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah. We have a guest with us as always. He's an actor, podcaster, amongst other things. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello, and welcome to In My Opinion podcast. I'm your guest, Sean Michael Williams.
You sound like our host.
I feel like he's done this before.
You sound like our host.
You've done this a few times, right?
I literally just thought about that like just now.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah.
Is it payday for you?
Payday is next week.
Oh, you're on the bad week.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, it's 5 days away. I mean, 7 days away. It's coming, right? It's coming. Even though I agree with John, fucking get paid and money's gone before you. When I wake up in the morning, money's gone.
Exactly.
Like that's so fucked up. Like literally, I close my eyes. I'm like, man, I'm gonna get paid tomorrow. Open my eyes, money already gone.
Right, bills.
Like
man.
It's insane. Being an adult fucking sucks.
It does. And inflation.
Man, it's insane.
I feel the inflation in the strip clubs too. I don't know how that works, but they raise their prices.
No longer $1 bills. Now they want $2 bills for $5.
Yeah. They start checking them at the door and shit.
I'm just kidding. I would never.
Yeah, right. What the fuck was I about to say? Hey, by the way, you work by the airport by me.
Sure.
Did you happen to hit some ugly ass traffic on 94 yesterday? No? Dude, it took me an hour. Like normally it takes me an hour to get home to my house from Schaumburg, right? So I work in Schaumburg, it takes me an hour to get home. Yesterday, I was nowhere near the Austin exit, and I was already on the road for an hour.
Man.
And it's like maybe 15 minutes more once I get off on Austin.
Oh, you know what it was?
The president was here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That mother flower was here causing traffic. That guy. Maybe he stopped. Maybe he fell out of the car and they were just, I don't know. He's a trip. We won't talk about him too much.
He's a literal trip.
Tripping hazard. So you're a podcaster, yes?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I really love podcasts. I started, listening to podcasts about
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Everybody. He's the godfather of fucking podcasts.
Oh yeah, he's definitely one of the podcasts. One of the podcasts I started listening to, and it was maybe about 2018 that I really started to really get into them because at the time I was working at AbbVie Pharmaceuticals in Waukegan, so just that long hour-and-a-half drive, I was like, man, I need something to kind of
unwind with.
Exactly.
There we go. I got you.
So podcasts like that, what else? Serial. And then I started getting into like dating podcasts and everything like that because 2018 is kind of when I was starting to get on the dating apps after recently like a divorce before that. So I was like, okay, you know what? Okay, with all these experiences that I've had over these years of just being on the apps, just dating, meeting people and in real life and all that, I really want to start to document and kind of just talk about dating and relationships. So you know what? I'm going to just start my own podcast. This is the perfect time. Everyone's starting to get into it. I was like, okay, I hope by this time, me starting a podcast, it won't be, I guess, I don't know, like overlooked because, now everyone has a podcast. So I'm just like, okay, is this the right time? But I was like, okay, you know what? I want to talk about the stuff that I'm going through. And so many others out there are going through it as well. So yeah, why not just, talk about the stuff I'm going through and other people have on guests, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, as of March of this year, I started my podcast, Situations Podcast. It's like spelled Situations, SEAN. Yeah.
Clever.
And yeah, it's a dating and relationship podcast.
Okay. So how'd you get it up and running? Like, did you Google it? Did you YouTube it? Did you look at our podcast and take notes? I'm just
Definitely.
kidding. I'm just kidding. That's more I'm sounding conceited as hell right there. So how did you start?
Yeah, honestly, I wish I came across your podcast before I started mine because, like, just seeing how you all got your setup and like the guests and everything that that you all do, I'm like, damn, like this is cool. Oh, can I curse?
Absolutely.
I've already done it like 12 times.
Yeah,
We're not even 3 minutes in.
You can let it rip.
So yeah, I was, as far as getting everything set up, I was like, okay, what is like the bare minimum that I need just to get started? So I was just looking at a whole bunch of YouTube videos and stuff like that, just seeing, like what is like the cheapest equipment that I can start with. And then as I, continue to do more and more, I can build on top of that. So right now I'm currently using a PodTrack P4 for any of the tech nerds out there.
That's a good one. I just recommended that to Danny.
Yeah.
I was just on his podcast. He had asked me, he did the same thing. He just started a podcast and he happened to ask me, hey, what do you think is good equipment? Right. I'm like, dude, depends on your budget, obviously.
Right.
But if you want something, he's like, but I kind of had this in mind because it's a little cheaper. And I was like, you know what, dude, if I'm going to be honest, I would rather if you ask me, I would say spend a little bit more now because the PodTrack 4 is a little more future proof than what you're looking at. Mm-hmm. It's a little more standard, as we call it. Right. Yeah. And it was a good buy for him. So kudos to you. So you got the PodTrack 4.
Yeah. So just using that, and then I got like 2 cameras set up. It's a Canon R10 and then the C100 Mark II, and whenever I have guests on, I use like the third camera. It's just a Canon 5D Mark II. So I'm just like, okay, different cameras, everything, and I'm like editing on like DaVinci Resolve to like do like the whole multicam thing or whatever. But yeah, so I was like, okay, cool. I got the bare minimum.
He's already like 30. He's like 4. He's already a year ahead of us. He's only been at it for like, how long have you been at it? Since March?
Yes, since March.
Dude,
but he's been researching forever.
I researched forever.
No. He's been he's 5 years in. Since 2018, he said.
No, you said this year, right? You said this year, right?
Yeah, I started podcasting this year, but listening for about 5 years.
5 years, listening for 5 years, and he's been at it since March. So he's already basically where we are now. But it took us 3 fucking years.
Yeah, we started on
That's insane. I hate to say we. I hate to say the word we because it wasn't really we. It was really me. But I love John to death. But yeah, the truth is the truth. All right, so you got some gear. You got an idea. You got DaVinci Resolve going, right? What was your first episode? What was it about?
Yes.
Or did you have a guest? Was it just you?
Yeah, so the first episode was just me. I was like, okay, I really want to kind of just have it myself in case I really fuck it up.
Yeah.
I won't be bringing down the other person.
We still fuck it up today after 3 years.
So yeah, none of us are perfect. We're all just trying, and
Absolutely.
just seeing, throwing.
We're testing waters right now.
Exactly.
So it was you. What did you talk about on your first episode?
Yeah, so it was just mostly about, is it me? Or like, welcome to like the world of dating. Like that was literally like the title. And I was just kind of like, figuring out, okay, so all these dates that I've been going on, because let's see, I started going on dates, like the dating apps, whatever. I started like hanging out with people from the dating app starting in like November of 2018. And then, like to currently, I'm still on the dating apps. And, I was just like, wow, well, of the 170 women that I've gone on dates with.
Holy shit.
Wow. Let me write that down. 100 and you know what it should be like? He should be like that picture of Wilt Chamberlain. He's got the 170. Damn.
So there's a running
50 were catfish.
Man.
50 were catfish.
Jesus. Okay. Continue, sir.
So like there's a running joke between So there's like a running joke between like my close friends and I, and then some of the people that listen to the podcast. So I use Google Calendar to like, know what's on my schedule for the week or whatever. And the only way that I was able to really count how many dates I've gone on was because, I would, put it in the calendar so I don't forget. Because if it's not in my calendar, I'm not going to remember anything. I'm just
Fair
enough.
Fair enough.
And then, you both get it, especially as like creators and that like artists out here, like, we're all busy doing a million things at once.
Yep.
So, I would put like a first date as like a rose or whatever, like a rose emoticon or whatever, date with so-and-so. And I was just like, okay, I need to do an audit. I want to see how many people I've gone on dates with, like first dates with, because we won't count second dates and anything after that. I'm just counting like, like the very first dates. Yeah. So when I counted, I was like, holy shit, 170 people. Like, wow. Okay. So I was like, okay, starting off with this podcast and now with this, first episode, I was like, okay, so I want to know what is it about this whole dating environment? Like, why is it so oversaturated? Like, why is it that, because like I do have so many great dates, like first great dates and everything. I would say I've only maybe had about 3 or 4 like bad dates that were just like, oh my God, like this is like a terrible experience. But for the most part, yeah.
Now what makes a bad date though? Like a non-talkative catfish type deal?
I've had a catfish on one, and then I'd had someone who was just like not talkative at all. And then there was another date that I went on, someone that, just walked in and just, had like designer clothes on and just like Gucci everything or whatever.
Jesus.
And, we had great conversation and, we were like really invested in what each other were saying, and it was just like going good. And, she was saying like, she doesn't need a man to pay for anything. I'm like, all right, go off, queen. Yeah. I'm like hyping her up. I'm like, yeah, like I fucking love that. But then right as like the check came, the waitress was like, okay, so how do you guys want to do it? Like, do the bill. And I'm like looking, I'm like, well, I don't want to offend her because she just told me about how, she doesn't want a man to pay for, she doesn't need a man to pay for anything. I'm like, I don't want to offend. So I'm like, split it.
That's such almost in today's day. That's kind of a risk to take as a guy because you don't really know.
Right.
Like I okay. So again, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of guy podcasts and how to date women. Blah 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 blah. And I don't agree with a lot of shit. Some people I agree with. Whatever. Like and some people say like, I don't believe in. How do I say this?
Paying.
The question is, should you have to pay?
Right.
As a man.
Exactly. Like that's
why are you looking at me like I'm crazy, John?
Somebody's got to pay.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But is it the guy's responsibility to pay the first date?
First date, yeah.
Why?
Because chances are you were the one that asked her out, I'm assuming. And just like, yeah, that first date, I would always pay. I mean, second, third date, if you want to split, that's cool. First date, it's on me.
Now, here's
Always
the
on me.
question.
Yeah.
And I'm just asking the question. Don't judge me to it. I'm just asking the question
Yeah.
because this is a common topic that pops up in a lot of podcasts, depending on where you sit on the equation. Like if you're old school mentality or if you're newer school mentality, however you want to look at it. So the question sometimes pops up like, okay, so you're providing something for the female or the woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you getting in return for that? Or should you even get something in return for that? Does that make sense? Like, because you're giving something,
Yeah.
right? You're
Right.
giving, and not just time, because you both are giving time. That's an equal exchange, but you're paying for dinner. What if she goes and tells you, "Well, you got to take me to the top floor restaurant that just closed in downtown Chicago in the John Hancock."
Oh, yeah.
You were talking about that's a couple $100 right there for a first date.
Right.
Do you feel, and then if you don't, which I'm not saying, I'm not going to judge you either way, but if you do it and you get nothing in return and this date goes nowhere, do you feel, I don't want to sound,
Cheated
yeah.
in a way. First of all, first dates should not be that intense. It should be like
What?
a coffee date.
I mean, you got to make an impression, man.
So you're telling me you really don't know this girl? On a first date, you're going to take her to
Well, okay,
restaurant
let's
downtown?
establish a
Like-
scenario then. Let's establish a scenario then. Where are we meeting this girl?
I would say usually
in
maybe
an
like
alley?
in an alley.
I don't know. Where we-
No, but let's be real. So let's play the scenario.
Okay.
Where did we first see this girl? Where do we see her? Do we see her online or do we see her in person?
I'm guessing nowadays it's a dating site.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Tinder, whatever.
maybe like drinks or something like that, or if you want to do food, like maybe like a place like a bar and grill kind of
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, though, man. I want women nowadays. A lot of them expect
some.
maybe not. That's why I said
not a lot.
I would say a lot. I mean, especially in today's day, you know, again, I'm old school. I'm 30. I'm 37, right? So I'm the same way as him. Like, let's go out. Let's go have a good time. I don't care. It's on me. Right? That's how I am.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm old school. I'm an older guy. So it's like that's how it is. Nowadays it's
Stop replacing old with old school.
why? What's the
We're
difference?
old. We're
Yes,
just
we're old.
old.
Okay. How old are you, sir, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh,
If you don't want to
man.
release it, that's fine.
No. It's fine because but y'all are gonna laugh at me because I'm a baby.
Are you?
So I'm 31, but
31?
But like,
Yeah.
I'm always the youngest everywhere I go.
You're
but-
still part of our clique here.
I made it to
You're in there. You're
30
in there.
crew, right?
Yeah,
Right,
30 crew. 30 crew. He's 40 crew.
40 crew.
He's 40
Yeah.
You do not look 40. Dude.
Thank you.
Like
Thank
you don't
very
look
much.
40. You don't look 37. Like
Really?
y'all,
Fuck it. Take it.
Yeah.
like y'all both look like maybe like 28, 29.
Oh,
like,
fuck.
But it's interesting because I think guys are the opposite of like, and again, this is gonna sound terrible, but as we age, I think we gain more of a, I don't know how to say, I don't want to say value. That's kind of the wrong word to say, but like we gain more of a respect, more of a position, status, if you want to
guess
call
you
it,
could say
as we
that.
get
Yeah,
older. Versus,
yeah.
it's like how you look at it when girls date. For me, most of the time they date up.
Mhm.
Right now, obviously, my girlfriend's older than me.
What the hell
which is
happened to
the
us
weird-
two?
Right, my girlfriend's
Yeah.
older than me, and my mom is older than my father. But for the most part, most women, if you think of high school, they like when they're in high school and we're all freshmen, they're looking to seniors.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're looking at guys older than them versus guys. On the other hand, once we get to a certain age, we tend to look younger than us.
Right.
Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, generally, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, we
for
tend to look
sure.
for girls younger than us. I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking. Obviously, you can find someone older than you. That's fine. No big deal. But for the most part, we tend to look younger. So it's interesting. Like we gain a certain thing as we age. I don't know exactly what that is, but I feel like we gain more of a presence as we age. So I had a younger girl tell me the same thing. She's like, "I found you so attractive. I don't know what it is." I'm like, "I don't know what it is either." And she's like, "It's like you're such like an adult," and I'm like,
It's the gray in your beard.
it's that salt and pepper look, that George Clooney thing going on. So you're on a dating app, yes?
Yeah.
How's that going for you? You got 100 and what was it?
170. I'm gonna have to like do like another audit like at the beginning of next year.
Census going on over there. How's that treating you?
It's okay. I'm like considering turning off the apps probably at the end of this year, only just because I'm hanging out with a few people that I'm really enjoying spending time with.
Right on.
And of these, people like I'm just like, okay, I don't want to make it feel like I'm playing somebody, if that makes sense. If I'm like hanging out with like 5, 6 or whatever, it's like, okay, like, because I don't want to come off as a fuckboy. Like I really do date with intention. And I think lately it's a little bit complicated because I'm moving to California next year. So I'm like, okay, now when I go on dating apps,
I hope you got money.
Yeah, right.
I know, right?
Shit. Good Lord.
I recently sold my Corvette because I'm like, I got to start.
You had a Corvette?
Yeah, I had a C6 2011 Corvette.
Automatic or stick shift?
Automatic. I couldn't do the stick. Like I was like, I don't want to be doing this every.
I'm sorry. I gotta give you that. I'm sorry. No, stick shift's the way to go.
No,
stick
you're
shift's
right.
the way to go.
You're absolutely
I'm
right.
sorry. Continue. So you sold your Corvette so you can have some money to take to or figure out something over here in California. Got it.
Yeah. So just saving up and stuff like that, just getting rid of expenses and stuff. And but yeah, so the dating apps is going good. But I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break and just kind of focus on the people that I like the people that I'm hanging out with, and then friends, family, all that good stuff before I leave.
Right on. See, dating apps. I mean, I used them. Obviously, I mean, I grew up when all that stuff was kind of blossoming, I guess if you want to call it. I did use it quite a bit. Now, mind you, it's weird because I wasn't in the relationship mindset when I was in my 20s. Right? God, it sounds so bad to fucking say it. I was in my 20s.
17 years ago.
When Alyssa was here a few weeks ago, and she's like barely starting her 20s. And I'm like, when I was in my 20s, good Lord. I was a fuckboy, if you want to call it that. But I mean, I didn't want to date. And plus, I didn't necessarily meet anyone that I really felt interested like that. A few people here and there that sometimes I regret. I mean, I do regret the one girl who's in Oregon right now, and she makes over $100,000 a year, and I would have been a great stay-at-home daddy. I snoozed on that one
too.
I'm kidding. But I don't know. So dating apps came along, and it just made it easier to find people, but it also made it easier for people to fucking lie.
Yes.
And that's kind of where I'm like, I miss the old school. Because you meet someone, you see them in person, you kind of, oh God, I was about to say vibe. But that's not my vocabulary. It's not. You kind of see them in person and whatever. That's why I was trying to establish where we meet this girl. Mm-hmm. So if we meet her online, right? So let's establish we meet her online.
Yeah.
You don't know much but a freaking bio, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much conversation are we having before we go on this first date? What would you say?
I would say, just based off my own personal experience, and everyone's different, but for me, I would try to keep it to like, okay, maybe chat for a couple of days, but like, let's not make this a whole pen pal thing, weeks or months or whatever. Like,
yeah, she's just delaying shit.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to get on to like, the date in real life and off the app.
But there is an inherent danger, right? Now, when it comes for women, not, I guess for men too, but more for women, obviously. There's an inherent danger now because you don't physically see this person, right? So like back in the day, if you met somebody at a bar, right, you physically saw them, even if you might be drunk, whatever, but you physically see them. So you kind of see, okay, they're not imposing, they're not intimidating, they're not aggressive, blah, blah, blah. You kind of get that sense from the get-go. You exchange numbers. The next day isn't so worrisome because you kind of have an interaction with this person already.
Right.
It's so awkward when, not awkward, but like so different when you don't. It's almost like when people come here sometimes. Like I remember the first time I invited a girl to the podcast, I felt kind of odd because I'm like, well, this girl doesn't know me, right? I don't know her, and she's just gonna walk into my house and sit down. I mean, How do you know we ain't gonna kill you?
Right.
You know what I mean? Obviously, I had some podcasts up already, but like that's a risk, And then dating's the same way. What say you? Like, how do you go about it?
Yeah. So, I try to like have a good like a conversation to at least try to understand what this person's like. Of course, dating or like the text like the what do you call it, the conversation, like the text energy on the app is gonna differ in person because you're getting two different sides. But
Excuse me, John, do me a favor. Stick that fan on the back of that camera because it's not on there. Stick it to the little magnet piece, and then flick the switch, please. I'm sorry, I totally forgot to put that one on. The other ones are good. Is it running? Just put it on medium or low. Sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries at all. Yeah. So as far as like the, that first communication when, you're matching it and now you're having that conversation, I try to like, talk maybe for like a day or two, like not make this a whole, week thing. And then, we get to that date. And like me, I'm a planner. I love planning dates. And like, it's so funny. On a couple of occasions, I've gotten comments like, oh, thank you for making the effort, like putting in the effort to plan a date, because men don't like to do that. Or the guys that I interact with on the apps don't like to do that. I'm like, really?
Let me chime in on that 2 seconds. And I think this is the hard part.
Yeah.
So I always don't want to come off as being, that's why I don't drink beer when I'm on a podcast. Sorry. Like, I guess I never wanted to come off as being like, okay, you have to do what I say or what I want to do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to always ask like, what do you have an idea of something?
Mm-hmm.
Just anything, just so I can kind of mesh my idea with your idea, because I mean, that would be bad if I'm like, well, I like to go paintball shooting. So let's go on a date paintball shooting, even though this girl doesn't like to get hit with anything. You know what I'm saying? She's about to get hit with paintballs.
Exactly.
That's like the worst first date ever,
Yeah, the key is to send options. That's what I do. I'll just say, hey, here are like a few options that like one is like a date activity, like, like if you're like going to like a beer cade or something like that,
Sure.
or a drink somewhere or dinner somewhere. Like here's like a bare, kind of like because like at the end of the day, like no one wants to, drop like a couple $100 on like a first date, So it's like
That's what I was saying to begin with.
I was just playing the scenario, man. I'm not disagreeing with you, man. I mean, you go to Dollar Menu all you want. I don't care. I'm just saying. Hopefully you don't do Dollar Menu.
Right.
Hopefully you don't do Dollar Menu.
Their dollar menu disappeared.
Yeah,
You know what I miss? You know what I miss from McDonald's?
What's that?
Do you remember when they had snack wraps?
Yes.
Oh my God, those were the greatest things ever. And they were like $1.50.
I don't think so.
What?
Gross.
Bro, I don't know what McDonald's did to those, because now Wendy's has one, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bigger, but whatever. And I'm like, it does not taste the same. I don't know. I miss snack wraps. McDonald's, bring that back, please. All right, so we're at the point. So you're a couple days.
Yeah,
right? A couple days, and we got to get to this date, right?
Exactly. So I'll send a couple options like, hey, like let me know if any of these work. And I'll do it based off like the location of wherever the person is. Cause like obviously
that was my next question. I was gonna say, so do you pick her up? Do you guys meet? How do you handle that situation?
Yeah. So we'll meet at the location. So I'll look at the profile and say, and see like, where is this person coming from? Like what side of the city? And in the past I used to say, hey, I noticed that, you're in X town or whatever. If you want, for your convenience, I can, look for some places and send recommendations around your side of town so you don't have to, commute or whatever. And I've noticed like in the last couple years, right before COVID hit or whatever, so like 2019 or whatever, and early 2020, I had noticed that a lot of women would just like stop replying at that point. And I'm like, well, maybe like they're thinking I'm saying it for convenience. It's like, oh, this is near your side of town, so that after the date we can, we're closer to your house.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. That could be a red flag, as they say.
Yeah,
I can see that. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think. God, it's been so long that I use the dating app for anything.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the thing is, the dating app. The weird thing is, it's not the same, man. Like I didn't have too much good luck with dating apps because it's so not personal,
right?
Until you get to the date, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's such a disappointment sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes people don't even have shit on their profile. It's just like some women's profile that I've come across is like no description or nothing of like that they like, no interest or nothing. Because these apps, they give you prompts for a reason to like gauge a first opening
But
conversation.
you gotta pay for those. You gotta be a gold member for those. I ain't paying that shit. No, but what I'm saying, okay, so I remember once going on a date, and I think I did it like right after I did some little short film, whatever, and we went bowling, right? It just, she seemed more interesting via text messages than in real life.
Hey, some people are like that.
Yeah, the text energy did not match the IRL energy.
Yeah, and I'm just like, well, what happened here? Like, what happened? John, you ever have a situation? I mean, you've been married for a while.
Forever.
I mean, were there
No,
were there
but
dating apps when
I
you were
can
single?
tell you, I mean, I was a much better texter than I was in person, probably.
Oh yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm super like fucking Romeo on text message.
This is the
In
most.
person,
This is
I'm
the
like,
most this man talks.
I don't
Like,
know.
okay, this podcast has helped his I'll say vocabulary. He has a very good vocabulary.
Extensive, please.
His
Come on.
his talkative nature, because he didn't
Yeah.
have one. It was a non-existent nature. Now it exists, and
No,
it's
yeah,
actually
right.
kind of thriving.
Now I'm
Alright.
cool. Like, I mean, early 30s, I hit that point where I was like, all right, I can talk to girls, but like fucking 19, 20? No, I'm too nervous.
See, but
for
this
some odd
helped.
reason.
This helped you, dude. This helped you quite a bit, I think, because this helped you
I would
with
say with
people you don't know.
strangers.
That's
Yeah,
the thing. It
yeah.
helped you with people you don't know, because even for me, like I'm a talk. Oh shit, I'm brand new to this. I'm a talkative guy. I'm pretty good at starting conversations with anyone, but this made me super comfortable with talking to people I don't know. Because I mean I had you on Instagram or whatever, but like I never met you. Right, this is the first time we meet, and I'm like, I'm cool with talking to whoever. Like and this helps with that shit. Like this man, I mean, I've known him my whole life, so like he talked to me obviously, but like this guy was the most quietest dude. He'd sit in a corner. If we were at a party, this dude would sit in a corner,
Yeah,
and literally
Yeah.
the whole time. And where's John? There he is.
Oh, you were that guy.
Yeah.
There
Oh,
he is.
yeah.
Unless you talk to him, he ain't talking to you. He's one of those. But
Facing the phone.
now he's out of his. He's a little more comfortable, a little more confident in his words.
He took me to a party of some
took you to a
girl.
party?
Yeah. Some girl was throwing a party in her apartment or something like that. And I could feel people like juking like all around me. And I was just sitting there on my phone like an idiot, not partaking.
That was the most like early 2000s, mid 2000s thing that I've ever heard. Juke party.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
You
well,
know what was funny,
it goes to show I'm not lying. I am
listen.
40 years old.
dude? I started. So I have a younger guy at work. He's like in his early 20s.
Oh,
right?
yeah?
And yeah. And were you so excited about
No,
that?
I'm shocked. Well,
Yeah, he's like in his early 20s, and
Oh.
we were talking about because he's like, oh, I'm gonna go to my first club. I'm like, okay, good luck. And then I'm like, we started talking about. So the other guy that I work directly with, he's in his 30s. He's your age, and we were like, dude, I used to go to Transit, and I used to go to Volcan, and I used to go to V Live, and this and this. And we started looking up pictures on the internet to see if we could find pictures of the places. A lot of them don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And then you start to see pictures of the club and then people in the club. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to stop looking at this. Last thing I need to see is myself literally
Yeah.
like juking some girl I'm not proud of. And it's
Yeah.
on the internet. I'd rather that be not known. You know what? But those are good times. Those good times back then. Okay, so we've established date,
Yeah.
right? So let's start from the beginning. So we meet online.
Mm-hmm.
We go a couple days. We establish a date, location, like I like the way you think. We're gonna go close to her location, so it's closer to her. So
For her
benefit.
Right.
For her convenience, but your possible benefit. Let's put it that way.
So
I like this. After 170, you got it down to a science, right? You got, yeah.
So we go, we meet up. How you prepping for the date?
Yeah.
You
So,
personally, and so like, what are you worried? Are you nervous? What's the deal?
yeah. So,
After 170 days, I'm
You ain't
assuming
nervous.
you're kind of like podcasting. You're comfortable. Like, I know what I got to do here.
yeah. At first, maybe like the first few dates, I'll even say like the first few, maybe 20 something dates, I was like nervous because I'm like, okay, all right, well, I hope that this person, first and foremost shows up.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I'm like, well, I'm hoping that, yeah, the energy that we had, at least on that text on the app, I hope that matches in person, or at least somewhat close to that. But yeah, it wasn't until like the more dates I went on, I was like, okay.
106, 106, 107,
Right.
around that time.
Exactly.
Around that time.
After like a certain amount of dates, I was like, okay, I'm not nervous anymore, because it's like, I'm going in with zero expectations. Because at the end of the day, we don't owe each other anything. We're just like, this first date, that is just like almost like the interview or like the trial period, just to see, hey, do we at least like each other? Is there
Can I see your resume, please?
Right.
So there goes your answer. Nobody owes anybody anything.
Sure. I just asked the question. That's all. Don't kill me. I just asked the question. Because at the end of the day, I mean, let's be realistic. The guy, if nothing comes out of it, you lost money.
Yep.
Right. Money is money. I mean, we cannot just throw shade on that. Money is money,
Okay.
especially not in today's day. Money fucking is money.
Yeah.
Now, should it be split? That's a great question. I'm not sure. I'm older, so it's like I'm the I don't even let my girl sometimes she'll try to pull her credit card. I box her ass out like I'm playing basketball. Just get the fuck out the way, girl. What you mean you gonna pay? The hell you can get out of here.
This one's on me, baby. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Get out like Shaq. Just get out the way, girl. That's how it is. But that's how I was brought up. I was brought up that way. Okay, so you meet. You have a good time or a bad time, whatever you want to call it. Let's do worst case scenario. The vibe's not there. The vibe. Holy crap. Let's say it's not working out. You don't like what's going on, right?
She doesn't look like her picture. She doesn't weigh like her picture.
Wow, that's bad, dude. That's bad.
I'm just saying. Hey, and it goes the other way too.
Jesus Christ.
I have a girlfriend. I'm not gonna say who it is because not a girlfriend, but a friend who's a girl.
A lady friend.
She went out on a date, and the guy was kind of upfront. He goes, "Oh, I'm kind of a heavyset guy." So in his picture, he was like 300, right?
Okay.
She goes to visit, and it's a trek. It's like a 6-hour drive to where he's at.
What?
And
who's driving 6 hours?
She is. And he's pushing 500 pounds now.
Whoa.
So that's, yeah.
Damn.
And I think
Hope he helped you on gas.
I think they still
Right.
I think they still did the deed too.
Wow.
Which is
I mean, you drove 6
I
hours.
was about to say, right? After 6 hours.
I mean, shit.
yeah.
What the fuck? I better get something out of this. I mean, shit. But all right. So it's not going well-ish, right? How do you approach rejecting a female or whatever?
Yeah. So in the past, I used to be almost like I want to please everybody, but like as I gotten older and just through different experiences, just in general, just life in general, it's been easier for me to just be honest and direct. Like, hey, I really, thank you so much for coming out. I definitely, enjoyed getting to learn a little bit more about you, but I don't think that we have a connection. But I just want to say, I wish you the best of luck. But thanks so much for coming out.
And how does she handle that? Usually.
Yeah. So
is the first response usually like, well, I didn't think it was that great either, and this and this. I didn't feel it either. Is that usually how it goes?
I've gotten a couple of those. Yeah, like
They got a safe face.
Right. Yeah, I've only had like a couple of like bad dates. But thankfully, because I know that there's so many people out there that do have like more like dates are like, damn it, like this was like a waste of time. So I did luck out by being able to like only have a handful, but of those handfuls, yeah. I've gotten I wasn't feeling it anyway, or one was like the story that I was just talking about, like the girl that was like, I don't need a man to pay for anything. So we split the bill, right? And because like, again, I didn't want to offend her because she said she doesn't need no man to pay for anything. Go off, queen. Like, yeah. So, yeah. So I'm like, do we split the bill maybe? And then so the waitress, takes both our cards, run it, whatever. So her attitude immediately changes. Like she was like, from like, cool, everything, whatever. Now she's like, I want to tell you something. Sure, go ahead. I think it was very disrespectful that you didn't pay for the date, especially considering the fact that you asked me out. I was like, well, I didn't want to offend you. You know, you were just talking like, you know, the whole night about how you don't want a man to pay for you. I'm just trying to, you know, like read the room, or so I thought I was.
Trying to meet you at your level.
Exactly.
Women.
They're indecisive. They want something, but they don't want
They're
something.
hard to read.
I don't know. I mean, I think you handled that well. Obviously, I mean, if that's the vibe that she's giving, then I guess go for it. But I mean, again, it's hard. Like you said, it's hard to read women sometimes. Like I remember going on a date, and we went into the Rosemont area where the little pavilion is, like where they have all the like Fuga de Chaos in there and the little clubs and restaurants and stuff. And we went to eat there. I remember it was cold as fuck that day. And we went to eat. And again, it was another one where like she was just more interesting in text form than in real life. And I'm like, it's almost like when we had that podcast with that one girl who wouldn't talk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you on a podcast if you don't talk? This isn't a silent film. Like, you know, like, what the fuck? And she was an actress. And I'm like, and you don't talk? Do you need a script for everything? Like, fuck I mean, literally, I didn't know. Like, I remember in that podcast, I looked at him and I'm like, I got nothing else. I'm running dry. Like, what the fuck? And it was kind of one of those. And I'm like, girl, like, what happened? Like, what happened?
She may have thought it was a gangbang, or it was like, no, it was like a real podcast. Like,
Right.
This
I
wasn't
remember
a trap house or whatever. You know,
I remember him
this
putting
isn't Bang Bros, you know. Whatever those. You know?
He was putting her headphones on, and I saw her face. She was like, "Oh, whoa! Like, what the fuck is going on?" Exactly what we told you it was going to be.
Happen. I mean, what the fuck did you think was going to go on? But I mean, I remember telling her, like, you know, after the date, you know, I walked into her car and I'm like, you know, I mean, I think she asked me, so what did you think? And I'm like, honestly, I mean, I didn't really feel anything. It just kind of felt like I was just eating with an empty chair. You know, I mean, I didn't say it that way.
I hope not.
I didn't say it that way. But you know, and then she came back and kind of got a little bit of offensive. You know, she got a little bit aggressive, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you know," but you know, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, okay, and I just walked away. You know, and it's like, I don't know. I think the old way of actually going out and meeting people was better.
Yeah,
because you get an initial concept of a person.
Absolutely.
Versus nowadays, and then even there's girls on apps that like you try to be like, well, let's go on a date, and they'll be like, no, I'm like, well, how did you do it before?
Right.
Like, how did you do it before?
Exactly.
Before there was obviously we're talking about older girls. Before there was this, what did you do?
Right.
You met people at bars, you met people at clubs, you met people at restaurants. That's what you did.
Exactly.
What's different now?
Exactly. And like, I'm like literally in the middle of like that, I guess that gap or whatever, like of the people that, you know, meet only on dating apps and the people that have met people in real life. Cause like, yeah, so many times I've met
fucked up to say it that way, right? In real life.
Exactly.
In real life.
Cause yeah, like I've definitely met, you know, so many people in real life that I have gone out on dates with that I never, you know, that I never would have met on the app, and then vice versa. But yeah, and we're seeing a shift in the whole dating app environment, just dating in general, especially with Gen Z now being old, you know, getting older and now aging in. So now you got like, now that the apps are kind of oversaturated because like, yeah, you know, you got all these different types of, I don't know, I don't want to say like generations, but it is. That's what it literally is.
Mm-hmm.
You got Gen X, like, you know, Gen X, you know, millennials, and now Gen Z. Of course, millennials are still like, I think, well, I know for a fact, millennials are the, I guess, the highest percentage of users on the apps right now because, of course, you know, the apps kind of started.
I think we got overwhelmed by that shit.
Right, yeah.
We were like, oh shit, you could swipe left? What?
Right.
I have preferences? I can pick what color hair she has? I'm excited here. What's going on? Exactly. I don't got to get out of bed? What? Shit, I can do this while I'm shitting? What? Left.
Exactly.
It's insane. I mean, technology has changed everything, you know? So podcasting again.
Yeah.
So where do you see your podcast going forward?
Yeah. So I definitely see it definitely having more guests on, reaching more audiences, especially in a dating and relationships and segment. And then, the podcast also talks about life experiences as well. So, traumas, mental health, emotional health. So I definitely want to have more guests on that kind of, that are experts in those fields, psychologists, wellness coaches and coordinators and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of where I want to grow it.
Right on. So you're also an actor.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You stage actor?
Yeah.
Or would you say a little bit of both?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I act on stage in musical theater. I've been, doing that since kindergarten. The first show that I'm really showing my age. The first show that I did in kindergarten was Lion King Jr. And that was like when it was brand spanking fucking new.
Okay.
Yeah, so I played Zazu the bird, and I just absolutely loved it. Because which makes so much sense years later. Because I just have that energy. I'm just all over the place. I'm just like a very open, just like an animated person. So of course,
those are big shoes to fill, Mr. Bean.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was the voice.
It was Mr. Bean.
Yep.
Zazu.
Zazu.
Oh
Simba,
my God.
where are you going?
You still got it.
Oh my goodness gracious. You know what? I wish I could have been in that stage play. I would have done that shit.
What?
Yes.
I would have done a Lion King thing. I could do Scar easy.
Yes.
Hands down, I would have been able to do Scar. I'll show you why after the show. So
Are you gonna push him off a cliff? What are you talking about?
he didn't push him off a
Yeah,
cliff.
are you gonna
He just refused
dig
to
your
save
nails
him.
into?
He refused to save him. He did the Batman thing in Batman Begins. Come on.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have to save you.
All right.
I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you. So you're a stage actor and you do film, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you prefer?
That's a really good question because I love both so much in their own ways. I feel like maybe stage by like a hair, maybe like by like 0.1%, only because I love doing things in like real time. So yeah.
I hate doing that. I hate doing that. I like taking cuts and do it over. And when you mess up, line, I love all of that. I love all that shit. I find stage, I haven't done stage. And I already find it challenging. I haven't even fucking done it. I give kudos to people that do stage because it's that to me is a whole nother animal.
Yeah.
Like that's so fucking live. Like it's literally like it's live, obviously,
it's
but
the
like,
point.
but it's so like you get
no do-overs. Yeah.
Man, the pressures of that are insane. Like if I was a main actor, I'd fucking make a mistake and do the beginning of the first act, and then for some reason pick up right at the third act. And the whole thing right there. You know what I'm saying? That would be me.
Nah, you would think so. No,
I don't know.
That wouldn't happen.
How do you handle your stage?
Yeah. So I really try to connect with whatever character that I'm portraying, and I want to make sure that I'm fulfilling the director's vision of whatever it is that they're looking for. So just taking on these different roles, and like I try to go for roles that I guess quote unquote break the barrier, because in theater, we all know that there are not a lot of roles for people of color, especially, men of black men. So I try to take on roles that are like challenging, that are not really made for me, because I'm like, hey, like just because, I don't know, example, I just finished doing Beauty and the Beast, and I played Lumiere the Candlestick. Like most actors that play that are, white, or even.
You really like that Disney stuff.
Yeah,
I like it too. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Or even another show that I did was Drowsy Chaperones, like a Roaring 20s kind of, production. I played George, like the best man, and George is, typically played by a white person, but, and I'm just like, okay, I just want to be able to just take on roles, that are like not traditionally made for me, because at the end of the day, if it's not specifically written or whatever, like this role has to be played by this type of person, because of course there are plays and musicals that are like that, and like they're there for a reason. But if it's like, hey, this, there is no hold on who can play this, yeah, give me the challenge. I want to do it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I like
I like that idea.
Yeah.
See, but that makes sense. that makes sense. If like I agree with you, and this might get a little touchy here, right? Because we're all minorities, right? African American, we're Puerto Rican. So
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
Oh, you Puerto Rican? Wow.
Yeah, believe it or not, he's
okay.
Puerto Rican. So we're all, black, brown, whatever. I agree with you when they're open, right? I have an issue whenever we're changing characters just to change them.
Yes.
I find that to be somewhat disrespectful. I know people look at it as progression, but I somewhat find it to be disrespectful.
And I guess it depends like what it is that they're changing about it. Because if it is like, let's say if it's like, okay, a role that's made for a man, but they want to have a transgender person, transgender identifying, man, then I feel like, if the person can do it, hey, go all the way to fuck off and do it, but,
Right.
And I guess again, it just kind of just depends on what it is.
It would be like me saying, okay, if you're going to do a movie about George Washington, but you try to get an African-American actor.
Right, exactly.
That's just weird.
Now that, yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it works both ways. Like, you can't make a movie about Michael Jordan and have Jonathan play him. It ain't gonna work.
Right. Yes.
Now, Michael Jackson, I guess you can maybe have
right. You need two different actors for that. Right. Exactly.
There. I don't know, but that's kind of my point when it comes to this.
Act one is the black actor. Right. Act one is the black actor. Act two is the white actor.
This is why, and a lot of people get upset with me because I say certain things like this, because I'm a fan of respecting the writers.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm talking about the original writers, especially when these things have been written before. If it's something new, do what you do. Do however you want to make it, right? You want to make a Disney film that's 100% Puerto Ricans, go for it. No problem.
Yeah, I don't think
you want to do it? I don't think so either. I saw like somebody made like a Celia Cruz freaking Disney character. That's not going to happen. Half the people don't even know who Celia Cruz is. She's a famous Dominican. She's Dominican, right? Celia Cruz Dominican?
She's...
Whatever. She's a
She
Hispanic.
might be Cuban.
She's one of the biggest
She
like
might be
salsa
Cuban.
singer women of all time in the Hispanic community. Never gonna happen though because it's whatever.
There is In the Heights though.
In the Heights.
In the Heights.
Sure. But my point is, I think when I say respecting writers, right? So if you look at a book, right? Let's say you go Jurassic Park. Let's just use Jurassic Park because everybody knows the book. If in that book, Michael Crichton or Crichton, however you want to pronounce it,
Crichton.
if he says Alan Grant is a white 39-year-old, to me that should not be changed in the film translation, because that's disrespectful to the writer.
Yeah.
The same way that if let's assume, I don't know if it's true, I'm just going to use it because I know this movie's very good movie. If Training Day was a book, and in that book it said Alonzo is African American, that should not be changed.
Mm-hmm.
He should be African American.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. If you want a film that's similar to Training Day, but you want to make it Puerto Rican or white or whatever you want to do, then make a new one.
Right.
Don't call it Training Day. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where I'm like, that's why I get upset sometimes, because we're just changing characters just to change them to appease people, and I think that's the wrong idea. You know, it's kind of like, what's the problem with the girl with the Snow White chick? Because she's kind of saying crazy stuff sometimes, and like we need to learn how to just. These characters are bigger than us in a way.
Ooh.
These characters are ancient characters that have lasted the test of time.
What do you think about the new Little Mermaid being black?
Okay, here's my thing. I don't care that she's black, but it's not the same. I keep those two movies almost separate. You know what I'm saying? Because what was it? It was Haley Bailey, right? Haley Bailey? She's just the main actress.
Oh yeah, Halle Bailey. Yeah,
Something like whatever.
Yeah.
Amazing fucking singer though.
Yeah.
Amazing singer. But the thing is, to me, those movies, those classic Disney films, right? Because I grew up with them in the 90s. I know them by fucking heart, okay? They're so classic and so ingrained in what we know of those movies that I feel like in a way it's, again, almost disrespectful to change it. Not because it's black. It could have been. I was upset about King Triton because King Triton's Hispanic. And he sounds cringy the way he speaks. So it's not a thing about race. It's just who is right for the role, and why are we changing it?
Yeah.
Why are we changing them? If you have a reason to do it besides, well, we just want to do it because that's what's popular right now. To me, that's not necessarily a good excuse or a good reason to change it.
Right.
I mean, did it make any difference? No, I guess not. I didn't think the light. First of all, on top of it, I don't think every fucking Disney classic movie should be a real life film because sometimes they just don't translate well.
Oh yeah, look at Aladdin. Even though like the characters are still like Middle Eastern, but they're very fair, light skinned Middle Eastern people. They got a lot of backlash for that because
I didn't like Jafar at all.
He was terrible. He was terrible in that film.
Not sinister at all.
Yeah,
Like,
he was terrible.
like,
And then, I mean, I don't know if people like The Lion King, but to me, The Lion King was the worst one because as real as it looked, because it looked good. The movie looked good. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
So the movie looked the part, right? But here's the problem. In cartoons, you can get away with shit. In real life, you can't. In a cartoon, a lion can talk. A lion doesn't talk in real life. How does that even translate?
I think you're talking about the facial.
Correct. And the other thing that pissed me off was that they didn't have facial expressions. So like in a cartoon, right? So in a cartoon, you know, if Scar is making a face or whatever, or he's pondering, he can make a face and he could put his hand under his chin and think, whatever. He could do all that stuff, right? In real life, animals don't do that.
Right.
So if you're going to make the movie realistic and he's not going to be able to do that, it's not going to have the same hit. Like, especially when you were just saying about when Mufasa gets thrown off or he accidentally falls off the thing, whatever, and he dies, right?
He
I'm
doesn't
kidding. And he dies, and you know how the camera kind of zooms in on Simba's face, and his eyes are wide open and whatever, and then when you see it in the live action movie, the little cub lion is just
Dad.
it doesn't hit the same way. Some of these movies just don't need to be made.
Yeah.
Let's leave those movies alone. Let's make new shit. Are we so out of ideas that we have to remake all the old shit?
Yeah, that's what's wrong with the industry right now in Hollywood. They're just remaking everything.
Not to mention the strike is over, so hopefully we all get back to work pretty soon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yay,
Exactly.
yeah. Fran got us out of it this time.
I'm
the
not
nanny,
an
she got us
actor,
out of
I
it.
forgot.
Oh yeah.
She annoyed him to
She gave him the laugh. She
submission.
was like,
All right, we'll do anything.
Don't make me call Mr. Sheffield.
Mr. Sheffield.
God.
Hey, I know she's gonna kick me
Love
out.
Fran
She's
Drescher.
gonna kick me out of the union.
She was gorgeous though.
Yeah, she was.
Still
She
is.
was. She's really. I mean, for an older lady, she does still look
Yeah.
really good. I don't know. I just feel like certain things don't necessarily need to be done that way.
Yeah, it
You
has
know.
to be intent.
I think if you go about it in a way that's respectful, and again, if you want to make something, I would love to see a movie about a Puerto Rican basketball league. I would love it.
Yeah,
Love it. But it shouldn't be played by white people.
Right,
And it shouldn't be, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it shouldn't be played by African Americans. It should be played by Puerto Ricans.
exactly. Yeah,
You know, now, I will say, because
What
I
is
have
this
said
Puerto
this.
Rican basketball league
I don't know. I
you're
just had
talking
this
about?
idea one time, and I was in Puerto Rico. There's a lot of drugs over there. I was thinking about stuff. Never mind. We'll talk about that later. There was some white powder residue on the table.
Yeah.
There's no, I lost my train of thought. I don't know where the fuck I was going with that. We were talking about movies. So, so you're an actor, right? Okay. So what? Have you been on any of the shows in the city or any of that stuff?
just been doing like very like what is it? Like,
Indie films,
like-
all that stuff.
I've been doing like a little bit of like indie films, and then as far as like any like big productions, I've only been getting what is it like the little background or like a one liner kind of ordeal. So I want to definitely get more, I guess, scenes and camera time and all that stuff. So I've been auditioning and auditioning and auditioning. It's just that I've been focusing so much on theater that I haven't really been putting in, I guess, so much effort to really, I guess, do the, auditions for the, like the Chicago shows and all that. Because like whenever my agent, because I'm with 3 different agents, and whenever like
Damn. Okay. Okay.
but whenever they have submitted me for, because like okay, I know some actors are going to really hate this, but I really hate the fact about the whole self-tape audition. Like, I'd rather go in person because I feel like
Really?
I can bring the energy and everything that I can, like in person, better than I can.
But
just
you're a
doing it
stage
at
actor,
home.
so it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes
It does
sense.
make sense.
I was about to say I hate you for that, but no, I understand. I get it. I get it.
So that's kind of like why I'm like, but that's like whenever whenever like one of my agents will send me an audition, whatever, for a Chicago show, I'm like, okay,
yeah. Set up my goddamn green screen.
exactly.
I gotta set up this background, this light.
Exactly.
I gotta memorize this shit.
Right.
I get you.
And like, if any of y'all are watching, any of my agents are watching, like, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I just don't have the energy to do it. I'd rather just be in person. Send me more in person ones. But
I understand why they did it, right? Obviously they did it a lot for COVID, but it does in a way, you have to kind of look at it this way. It did give us a better opportunity to give them a better performance.
yes.
Because in an in-person audition, you don't have the opportunity to do it over. I mean, you may have, maybe they'll tell you to do it again because they want to, hey, try this, whatever. But you have that one shot to impress someone versus when you do it self-tape, you can put out your best. Now, the problem is the expectation goes up too, though, right? Because now you don't expect them to, not know their lines or to have a paper. I mean, you can do it over and over. You should be able to give us the best one. Versus, I think when you go in person, I think there's already a common knowledge that, hey, this guy's probably not going to be on his A game exactly right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it has its positive, it has its negatives. What would you say is your best genre are you pretty well rounded, or do you think you fit a particular roles, or what do you think?
Yeah.
Film wise, let's say film wise.
Around.
Yeah. Film.
You played a candlestick. You played a cub. I would say he's pretty well-rounded, right? Shit.
I could play inanimate objects and people.
There you go.
I definitely like drama. I don't like drama in real life. What they call it, gossip drama. But of course, whenever I'm taking on a character or doing a show or whatever, I really like drama. But I could take on comedy. I can do like comedic roles. And lately, I've been doing theater wise. I've been doing like a lot of like lighthearted, funny characters. But if I had to choose, I would definitely say my strengths are definitely like in drama, action, or just something that's like intense. Because I grew up, just to make a very long story short, I grew up in an abusive household. My stepfather was mentally, physically, and emotionally abusive towards me and my siblings. We would fight, like literally throw hands almost every fucking day. And I left home at 17 because I couldn't take it anymore. Like, one of us was going to end up dead or in jail. And it sure as hell was not going to be me.
You're going to end up on Broadway.
So I, thank goodness I had theater my entire life to kind of get me, to take away the negatives at home. So I had all these other creative outlets. So it was always easy for me to bring drama and intensity into the roles that I would take on, because I was like, oh, I got trauma all day, right? This
is my life.
Right. This is a Tuesday.
I can tap into this anytime I want.
Yeah. So I think that's probably why I prefer like the drama.
Okay. Are you into like making your own making films and stuff like that, like indie films and all that?
Yeah. So I recently, I say recently as if this was like a year or two ago. So I made a feature-length film, Cabin of Horror. If you're on YouTube, just YouTube Cabin of Horror.
I will do that. I really will.
And I wrote and directed it with my then fiance, who became my wife, but then now ex-wife, because we got a divorce. Long story short, she cheated on me.
And she gets half.
Right.
And she gets half.
Unfortunately, she cheated on me a month before the wedding, but since we were dating for like 7 years prior and our family was close, what was
the title? Cabin of
Horror.
Cabin of Horror.
Yeah. So, I still went through with the wedding only because, we knew each other for so long. Our families were close, but first year of marriage, it was just rocky. I just couldn't trust her.
Yeah.
Second year, I was like, I can't do this no more. I gotta, ask for a divorce. But Yeah, so that's who I did the film with, because at the time we were just just tag teaming, like just doing projects, putting out work and stuff.
Was she an actress?
She is, yeah. Well, I don't know if she acts these days, but in high school and then post high school, when in college and everything, we went to separate colleges, but she would act still on the side though.
So I watched your latest podcast, and you were talking about, I think you asked your guest the question of do you think it's good to date in the acting community? Right.
Yeah.
So now I'll ask you the question. What do you think? What say you?
So whenever I was doing,
obviously you say yes because you married one, right? You married an actress, right? Yeah,
right,
yeah,
exactly.
Well,
well, it didn't work out.
Never mind. I don't want to say.
Which is why you should not. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
If I am doing a theater production, a musical or a straight play, whatever it is, I tend to not date somebody because only it's like, well, is this just a showman? So, of course, we're hanging out, seeing each other, 3-4 times a week because we're rehearsing for this show. So what is that going to look like when the show ends? So I just want to make sure it's not superficial and just some cliche thing. So when I'm doing a show, I'm like, nah. But if the show's over, for sure.
And like what suck is like the opposite is like, what if you guys break up like halfway through the goddamn freaking production, and you guys have this intimacy scene, and then
Exactly.
you guys are fucking at each other's throats, like goddamn. I will say, in a way. Now my girlfriend's obviously she's not an actress.
How's that obvious to him?
Oh, sorry. I mean, I did do a little short film thing with her.
Right.
In a way, I kind of feel like it would be beneficial, and I'll tell you why. Because when you're an actor, when you're both acting, you understand what it is. You understand that acting is acting, and you turn that off and you go home, and this is real life, right? Because there's stuff in acting that you're going to do or potentially do that could be deemed as something different outside of acting, right? So if you have a scene, like an intimacy scene, or you're kissing another woman or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
right? It's harder to explain that to someone who's not in the business than someone that understands it already or is already familiar with it, right? Like, I've had this conversation with my girl before, and I'm like, how would you feel if I had a scene making out with another woman, or potentially, I guess, the influence of having sex with somebody else? She's like, I probably wouldn't want to watch that. I'm like, I understand, right? But you have to understand that this is just like a job. I am doing this job. What are you making these faces for? Go ahead.
All bullshit.
What's bullshit?
I mean, you see what happened to Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. It happens all the time.
Correct.
So you can say, yeah, it's just acting, but how many times is that?
Is Tom Hanks' wife an actress?
Yeah.
Is she?
Mm-hmm.
Right, never mind.
Yeah.
I thought she wasn't for a second. Never mind. I'm gonna try to find a couple.
So I'm right.
Well,
I'm
the Rock's wife isn't an actress.
Yeah.
He has scenes all the time, but I'm pretty sure there's plenty of women. Now, I will say a lot of actors tend to date actresses or whatever. They tend to date in the community again because they understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all fake. It's not real.
I mean,
we just make it look like real life.
Yeah, it's all fake, but
what?
It ends up that a lot of relationships start that way.
What, being fake?
No. I mean, how long does a movie take to film? Like 4 years?
Depends.
In
depends
those
on the
4
film.
years, let's say you have kissing scenes every other day. Like, eventually, something's going to happen. It always does.
Not necessarily. Not if you look at it as a profession.
Yeah, it happens, I think, more than you think.
I understand that it happens, but that depends on the person.
I mean, sure, you can say that.
So if your wife was an actress,
Uh-huh.
you wouldn't let her have a kissing scene.
Probably not.
Why? You insecure?
Because she'd probably be the breadwinner, and I'd be scared of leaving or her leaving me.
No, but realistically, let's talk. Let's be real.
No, realistically, it's happened a bunch of times.
So you're worried about the money?
Look, I could name you so many if I think of them. Reese Witherspoon, didn't she get married to that kid with the short hair, Ryan Phillippe?
Oh,
they were in that
yeah,
movie.
Yeah.
Dude, it happens all the time, and
I
not to mention
understand.
like the secret rendezvous.
But you're using examples of people that ended up getting married. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about someone that when you said Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt in that situation, that made more sense because they were in a relationship. He cheated with Angelina. I got it.
Yeah.
But you can't just say, well, Reese Witherspoon ended up marrying this co-star. That means nothing. She didn't cheat on anybody. How do you know either one was in a relationship?
Well, she might have been dating someone.
How do you know that? But you're already in the You're assuming.
I'm not.
You're assuming.
Paparazzi. I don't know everything. But
here's the thing. I look at that type of stuff almost like words on a page, right? So when I read about somebody kissing in a book, that's how I look at it when I'm doing it. It's just a page. It's just words. It's just this. What is it? What is it that makes kissing your wife important or special to you? Is it the action or the meaning behind the action?
I guess both.
You guess both.
Yeah.
Explain that.
I don't know. It's kissing the person you've been with for so long.
Do you feel the same way when you kiss your mom or you kiss anybody else?
Obviously not.
Not the same exact way, but I'm saying that's the thing. The significance is, to me, superior than the action. The action is just an action, right? It's what's behind it. What I feel behind it is what it makes it important and makes it special.
Yeah.
Right? So I can repeat the action, right? If I kick you in the face, that's special to me.
I'm sure it would be.
Right? But I can kick 100 other people, but it's not going to feel the same way as when I kick you in the face. You get what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, I guess.
So again, what's special? The fact that I'm kicking people in the face?
I guess the person that it is that you're kicking in the face.
What say you, sir?
Yeah, I think you have to be strong-willed on both ends. Like,
agreed.
Because like feelings are natural and it will happen, especially doing like a show, whatever. If you're doing it or a movie or whatever it is a project that you're on for a long period of time, but you have to remind yourself, of course, this is just fake. Even even let's say, and like this is gonna be kind of, I don't know, a little bit of a hot topic here, but let's say if
we love hot topics, we love it.
So let's say you both are in a relationship, but like let's say one of you or both of you are doing a project, and your love interest, you each start to develop a little something for each other, because that does happen. You have to remind yourself that, hey, I'm not gonna, step out on my significant other if I really care about them. But then what you could do is, if there are like a little bit of like feelings, you could turn it into, I do have feelings for this person because we've been doing this production or whatever it is for X amount of time. Why don't I turn these little feelings that I'm developing and turn that into motivation to knock this thing out of the park?
I agree. I think here's another thing.
What do you mean by knock this thing out of the park?
Like,
because you use it,
give it more of your
realistic
motif.
Yeah, it gives it more of a
You're
real
not
thing.
knocking her out of the
Here's
park.
the difference. Look at
Okay,
here's like this is the thing. If you're in a scene with someone else who's not your significant other, right? Everything has to be professional. Okay? I can have a scene with whoever, right? Do my part. I'm going to go to my hotel. I'm going to go home without that person. Without that person. This is when it starts to get out of hand. Mm-hmm. Now, when you start putting yourself in bad situations, it's no longer the acting that's doing the negative part. It is you.
Okay.
You're already making the mistake. If you decide, well, we're going to have this scene, we're going to make out, hey, you want to go get drinks afterwards? Right. You're already fucking up. You are already fucking up. It is no longer the acting that's doing anything. It is you.
I read something funny that said nobody gets into a relationship faster than two coworkers that are already in a relationship. And that's not to mention if you're an actor or actress and you're kissing somebody else, your co-star or whatever.
Dude, how many? Here's the thing.
But you're telling me if you happen to be so lucky to get an acting scene with Margot Robbie and you got to kiss her several times.
What? What do you saying?
What? And she goes,
am I not going to get hot and be like, hey, damn,
hell yeah, you're going to get hot.
Of course, she's Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I'm going to go and invite her to my hotel room.
Right.
I don't have to do that. I have to do my job,
but
I don't have to do that. Huh? I'm not saying she's going to say yes or no. That's beyond the point. My point is, I have a job to do. My job doesn't include inviting her to my hotel room to sleep with her.
I understand what you're saying.
That's my point.
And I'll give you this. I'm pretty sure it starts off professional, but after a while,
let's put it like this: how
happen.
many films have been done in the history of movies? Right?
Plenty.
Okay, plenty. How many have kissing scenes?
So many.
Somewhere in the ballpark of
At
like
least
90,
75% right now,
I
or
was saying
even
that
90. Yeah, you're right.
90% people are kissing or doing some shit, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How high is the percentage of people that have ruined their marriages because of that?
I mean, it's probably not that high.
Okay, then I rest my mother effing case.
But at the same time, you hear of stories, but some of that shit might be hidden too. Maybe some of the shit hasn't come out yet.
I
Will
never
Smith and
will.
Jada Smith.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them.
There you go.
I mean, I get it. And then there's some, like, let's say if you look at Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's relationship, you know, each one was controlling the other, blah, blah, blah. Johnny Depp didn't want her doing scenes with dresses or whatever the fuck, and she was being a bitch and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of situations. Mm-hmm. Can it be done correctly? Yes, that's why there is trust, right? You have to be open with who you're with. Now, again, I'm not saying, fuck it, you know, if she tells me don't do with this, but like if she knows I have a thing with Margot Robbie and I get an opportunity with Margot Robbie, she goes, you know what? I know that poster is in your room with Margot Robbie. I don't think you should do that one. I might sleep on that one, maybe. But at the same time, it has to be.
The poster's all stained, and yeah.
I mean, just,
it is Margot Robbie.
I slept on it literally. You know?
Margot Robbie. I got a weakness for Margot Robbie. But I think it's manageable as long as you handle it the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And again, look at marriages that have lasted the test of time in films. Tom Hanks, he's been married with his wife fucking years. Mm-hmm. How many women has Tom Hanks kissed in his career?
Yeah. Denzel and his wife, decades together.
He had Eva Mendes butt ass naked on the bed in Training Day.
Sure. He seems like a solid dude. Yeah,
I'm just saying. But I mean, there's always Eva Mendes is fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, he professional. You got to be professional. I mean, again, it depends on your mentality. Obviously, if you're not ready to, do that shit, you probably shouldn't do it, or be in a relationship while you're doing it.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's all trust, man. You got to be able to trust who you're with.
Absolutely, yeah. You just can't take the work home with you, like you were just saying earlier. And just got to be strong-willed and just know at the end of the day, hey, I love my partner. I'm not going to step out on them. Like, I'm here to get the job done, and I'm going to make this scene authentic. And like you said, go home at the end of the day.
That's it. You go home. The problem starts when you don't go home.
Yeah.
That's where the problem fucking starts. You do your job. Obviously, you got to do your job, because once you sign up for something, you got to do your job. You got to do it. You do it to your best of your abilities. No different than fucking playing a sport. Mm-hmm. Anything. It's just, obviously you're doing something visually. Now, the bigger question I think for the partners would be, how do you feel, or how do you react to, let's say, your friends, your family members seeing your husband or your boyfriend on a screen kissing someone else? Like, how bad is that on the psyche for the partner, right? So let's say you're in a big film. You ever seen Margot Robbie, right? Margot Robbie's all over you. And you're like, you tell your girls, yeah, my man was in this movie with Margot Robbie, blah, 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 blah. And then 100 years, y'all go together, watch this film, and it's just you making out with Margot Robbie. How does that conversation go?
Right?
Like, damn, they all looking at her like, damn, okay. You let him kiss Margot Robbie like that?
Right? It'd be like the first question from the relatives and friends would be like, so how are things at home?
Yeah, right?
You leaving that man, right? You see that shit? That tongue went in there deep. What's wrong with you? I don't know. I mean, obviously that's a bridge I haven't crossed yet, but we'll see how that goes. But I know that's part of it, right? Like I understand it, right? I understood. If I had a girlfriend who was an actress, I would understand, but I'm in the business, so it's different, right? What challenges do you have in acting?
Yeah. Sometimes I will say challenges are time, because there's just not enough hours in a day. Because I do try to, I do take like a lot of like, what do you call it? Like acting classes and stuff like that on the side to, kind of just keep that
Absolutely
that toolkit sharpened
Yep.
and everything. And so I do find like a lot of time and then money, of course, because, I'm working a day job. And so I do email marketing at a healthcare insurance company. And so, just being able to just dive into just doing acting wholeheartedly, just that, I think that's probably like one of the challenges that I have, is just like trying to find the balance, because it's like, I want to do this solely and not have to work a day job, but like, just like, we all are, but
then you look in the mail and it's just bill,
exactly.
man.
So I think it's that, and then like how competitive the field is, because
That's true.
everybody is like wants to act.
It's almost
Everybody.
intimidating
Mhm.
in a way.
Yeah, and I also do music as well. Like I rap and sing, and so
Watch out. Watch out.
Yeah, so quick plug, you can find me SeanyDoo, SeanyDoo.com.
Watch out.
I'm everywhere.
Watch out.
But yeah, so just pursuing all these different creative avenues it's challenging, because like especially with the rise of social media and the digital age, everyone's doing it. So like when I got into podcasting, everyone's doing it. Like how do I get seen? How do I get heard? So.
But you did the right first step. I mean, you're doing it. You went out on a venture. You started it, and you're still doing it. Because like I said, I think in a couple episodes ago, like a lot of podcasts start and they're done in like 2-3 episodes.
Yeah,
And you become a statistic.
Yeah, exactly.
How many? I think I read somewhere that like if you've lasted more than like 10 episodes, you're like in the top like 20% of podcasts that have lasted that long. It's kind of it's true.
It's so true.
It's because people don't ever realize, Jonathan included, how hard it is to do this shit. But yeah. I enjoy it. You enjoy it?
I love it. I never thought I would have this much fun doing it. Don't get me wrong, of course.
Give it a few hundred episodes.
Right.
It'll drop. The fun will drop down a little bit. I'm kidding.
Like just meeting people from different walks of life, and just being able to just tell my story, and just on such a public platform. Never thought I would be able to do something like that. Because of course, being like an actor, there's like, we live like public lives, but to be able to kind of tell personal stories to the public is a whole different thing.
Yeah, you got to be vulnerable and all that, and open and this and this. It's a challenge, man. Doing this takes a lot of time, obviously. A lot of mental stress, right? Trying to get this shit together, trying to get guests, trying to line stuff up, especially if people start to cancel on you last fucking minute, which has happened before, all that stuff. And on top of it, you're trying to be an actor, and you have a day job and all this stuff. Like people don't realize, like, I think they jump in and they think it's going to be easy. They think because they're popular amongst their friends, you think you're going to shoot up the ranks on YouTube and be an instant sensation.
Oh, it's going to translate in a week.
Exactly.
That's not how this works. They don't see the outcome that they want, or then they realize, damn, I got to go this Friday again.
Right.
Again.
And let me clear this up for everyone who has ever posted anything online, whether it's digital, audio, whatever the fuck it is. We are at the will of Father Algorithm.
That's true.
Yeah. 100%.
Yes, we are. But I will say there is a sense of accomplishment that I feel whenever I do this.
Yes.
We started just like you, right? We were fucking bored during COVID, and we bought the cheapest things we could find, and we made it work. And then little by little, I started to change things around here. No, I'm kidding. But it's an interesting feeling, right? Because people come here, and like the first thing they kind of react, kind of how you react when you walk in. It's like, oh, this is kind of it looks like a podcast. I'm like, yeah.
I would hope so, right?
It took some time, but
Right.
you know, and I like when people come here and see it because, and not to sound conceited, no, I'm not trying to sound conceited, but I'm like, I want to see people continue what they do. You know, I want to see how, like, I told Danny's been on my podcast. He's another guy who has his podcast. He's a wrestler and he has his podcast. I was just on it last week, and I told him, like, dude, fuck it, just do it. You learn as you go, you get better as you go, like anything else. You know, the important part is actually doing it. That's how I felt about acting.
Yeah.
Like, John knows me my whole life. I never mentioned acting my entire life until after I did a Walmart commercial by luck. Right after I did a Walmart commercial by luck, and fucking, I was like, you know what? I want to try this before I die. And if I'm good at it, I'm good at it. If I'm not good at it, at least I can say I did it. You know, how many people can say, you know, I was in a Walmart commercial and I did this, I did that. You know, like people criticize. Some people, it's funny. You're up and coming actor like I am. You know, we get these small little roles or whatever, and you tell your friends, "Hey, I'm gonna be on this show," and then that was it. I barely saw you, and I'm like, you know, and then I'll try to respond in a funny way. I'll be like, you know who I didn't see? You in it. I was there though.
Right.
And I get those checks that say SAG AFTRA on it. You don't. So who's doing what?
Exactly.
You know, but it's such an accomplishment to like be able to do these things. Like I never thought. Jonathan, I'm pretty sure feel the same way. Like, did you ever think this would be like this when we started?
No, I didn't think we'd get 10 episodes in.
You were going to be
And
a
we're
statistic.
yeah, I was planning on it.
Planning.
I was planning to spend money elsewhere than this podcast. But 100 and... Are we at 100?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're way past 100.
Wow.
We're like 115-ish.
Yeah.
Go all the way the fuck off.
I was going to ask you about that. I wrote that down on my tab. What the hell is that? And where did it come from? And why do you say it?
So I just started saying this like on my podcast very recently. And actually, it wasn't until the episode with Alyssa, because like I always say go off or whatever. But when she was on the show, she was just like talking about like the different things that you know, that she does and how, and just hearing her.
For proof, I do have it written down right there.
Yes.
I have it written down
Look
right
at
there.
that. And, you know, she's so well-rounded and so well-versed, like, at such a young age. And I'm just like, yeah, like go all the way the fuck off. It just came out of me, just like go all the way. So, yeah, because it's like, it's just a more heightened version of go off. So go all the way the fuck off. Now I got t-shirts. So situation.
He's selling merch.
Right.
He's way ahead of us. He's selling merch.
Plug City, situationspodcast.com.
What's our
Click on the merch tab.
catchphrase?
That's a great one. I don't know.
Hey.
Yeah, I guess. Hey,
No,
I guess.
no.
I like the hey.
First of all, that's a Cubs announcer fucking thing. That's Jack Brickhouse. You can't take that.
Hey, before we ever cancel this podcast, I need you to do a Harry Carey impression. I told you, I need you to do it. Bro.
It's
Crooked
coming.
glasses
It's
and everything.
coming.
I need you to do it.
It's coming.
Hey,
ho.
What about
I mean,
hey fucking hey? What's up? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not good with catchphrases. I never was. The hey thing, I kind of took it from somebody else anyway. It was just an easy way to start the podcast. I just kept doing it all the time.
Jeez.
But yeah, I'm trying to see if I had anything else that I had written down here. Do you have anything coming up? What are you working on right now? Anything in the pipeline?
Yeah. So now I'm just auditioning. You know, just waiting for the next couple of productions to come up. So gonna, you know, still do that with, you know, with theater wise. Now that the strike is over, go SAG AFTRA.
Seriously.
Now I'm gonna start auditioning for, you know, the TV series and stuff again. Just find the motivation to just do the self tapes when they roll in.
That's true.
And then I got another album coming out next year.
Another.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it's you know, I'm kind of keeping the title kind of secret because I just want to make sure that this is the title that I want it to be. But the album is just about trauma stuff that comes, like some of the stuff that I went through in my very past relationship that was from 2020 to 2021, and then we tried it the second time, and it's just like which is very toxic. So
See, that's why I could never come up with an album. I didn't date enough girls. I didn't have enough girlfriends. I mean, my album would be like, I met her, I left her.
You give her the time of day.
Thanks for listening. That would be it. That's cool, man. Kudos to you. You said you took acting classes. Where'd you go?
Anthony Mindel's Actors Workshop.
Where? I've never heard of that. Where the heck is that?
Yeah, so they got a few locations. They're based out of LA, New York, and Chicago. And the one studio that they have here is in Irving Park. It's literally right. Wait a minute, you're gonna have to cut this part out.
Okay.
It's right down the street from my house, but like it's
Irving Park is like one of the longest roads.
Yeah.
In the city of Chicago. Like,
well,
what are the chances?
It's off of like Elston and like I don't know Elston. Well, this is off the record, but it's like Elston and like what's that street like? It's like Monticello.
Okay, I know where you're at.
Yeah.
But I mean, but still, that's still like the like to hit that in a target. It's pretty hard. It'd be like saying we're on Harlem and Foster.
Hey,
What?
knock it off.
What are they gonna do? They're literally gonna go a quarter mile all the way around, knocking on every door to try to figure out which one's this one.
Don't tell them.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I'll take care of it.
I'll restart it.
I'll take care of it.
Okay.
And what do they teach more theater there or more film or a combination of both?
Yeah, so they primarily focus on scene study for film. They do a little bit of and they do theater as well. I'm not gonna count them out for that, but they do have a lot of primaral. Oh my God,
Priority.
Yeah, they have like a lot of priority on like the film side of things because a lot of the actors that do come through do a lot of film stuff. So that's the one thing that I appreciate about that is that they
I've
do
never heard of that one.
Yeah.
I've gone to a few. Like I've gone to a few schools, but like I've gone to the ones that like I've gone them in order would pop up on Google. Right? So like I've gone to like Black Box, I've gone to
Chicago Actor Studio.
Oh my God. Did you go there? Please tell me you
I
walked
had like a
in
trial.
and walked right out.
Yeah.
Thank you. Man, dude. I mean, I don't mean to bash it 100%. I mean, I haven't been there in a long time. Right. And I would say it's funny because the director of the place wrote to me on Facebook for some strange reason. I haven't talked to him. I didn't even talk to him when I went to the school. Let alone he wrote to me on Facebook asking me how the podcast is going, which I guess is fine. I mean, you can ask me, no big deal, right? It was going good. It's going good. But there, it was interesting, right? So like I would say if let's say Jonathan was an up and coming, he wanted to start acting, but he didn't have that much money. I would say, okay, it's better than not going anywhere. But I would say if you could, go somewhere else. Like I remember going to the green room. The green room was great. I remember going to Vagabond. Vagabond was fun.
Yeah.
I remember going to the Black Box. Black Box wasn't really my thing because they were more into acting. I mean, into stage. That's what I want to do, right? Acting.
Yeah.
They were more into stage acting at the time. All right, I'm sorry. They're more into stage acting, and I wasn't really into stage. Stage acting is not really my jam, right? I'm more film. But I enjoyed it. I did it, whatever. I also went to, I'm thinking about going to the Forge.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to try them out. But definitely you got to go to classes, right? I was like, you have to, because that's the only way you're going to get like this foundation of kind of what the deal is. And then you do a lot of background work. Fucking background work exposes you to fucking the concept of acting.
Yeah, it
does. You did background work?
I have.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. Well, yes and no. There was I think like probably like the.
Besides the fact that they kind of treat you. Exactly. I don't want to say they treat you 100% shitty, but like they kind of keep you very separate from everything and you can't really like do anything or whatever.
Exactly.
So what am I really doing here?
That and the hurry up and wait kind of stuff.
Yeah. I've done background a few times. The very first time I did it, was actually kind of cool because like I actually got to interact with the main characters. And I actually got like a second and a half of screen time where actually people recognized me. Like I remember going to a basketball game that I had to play in the Sunday after the episode aired. And the referee, who's a friend of mine, he goes to me, "Bro, were you on fucking Chicago PD?" And I'm like, yes, I was.
Yes.
Or whatever. And I get pushed by like what's the cop's name?
Voight?
No, the one with the blonde hair. He's dating Burgess. or he likes Burgess.
Russo.
Rusev.
Yeah, Russo. Yeah.
So he comes in and he just pushes the shit out of me and whatever, and they do their scene. I remember that day specifically because Leroyce Hawkins was there. It was Patrick is his real name. So Patrick comes in. They're both coming up the stairs. I'm like guarding the door because I'm, typical gangbanger role, whatever. I get pushed out the way, right? And then Leroy starts running behind the guy who's running, right? And we're at this like broken down bowling alley, right? And bowling alleys have what on the lanes, John? Oil.
Grease.
They have oil on them, right? So they're doing this scene and he has to like jump over this like caution tape that's on the floor. And we go through a take. This dude jumps over the thing and he slips and falls hard. Everyone's holding, right? And he runs. The moment they said cut, it was Laugh City. Oh my God. I felt so bad. Dude, this dude, he's a bigger dude.
Yeah.
You heard that hit the ground, boy. That dude hit the but kudos to him. He got up and just kept running. But still, I was like, God damn, boy, did you not think? I mean, did you wear the right shoes for this? Like, it's a bowling alley. What'd you think this was?
I don't think there's any shoes.
But I would say definitely, because a lot of people are against doing background work. I'm like, dude, do background work.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a little bit of money and you kind of get to see how it all works. Maybe not in front of the camera so much because they always keep you in holding and you're over here in the corner, but you kind of see the atmosphere. You see how much it takes to do a film or how much it takes to do a TV show or whatever. So you kind of get a good idea of how it works.
Right.
Yeah, it could be shitty. I ain't gonna lie to you. It could be shitty. It could be boring, whatever. It's not probably what you expect when you get that call, right?
Yeah.
You're over here like, yeah, I'm going to be all, nah, you're not. Nah. They're probably not even going to recognize you on the screen.
I mean, what's the dream? You're out there as an extra,
all of a sudden,
doing background, and the
sudden,
director's like, I like that guy's look. Bring him in.
That's the dream.
And then you become the main character.
That's the fucking dream.
Yeah,
that's the fucking dream.
It's a dream for a reason.
And the thing is, and the reason I say that is because, are you a fan of, and you can agree, disagree, whatever you want to do. Are you a fan of this whole fake it till you make it thing?
Yes and no. It depends on like what avenue you're pursuing. But then on top of that, it's just so many different factors. I feel like it's okay to fake it if you make it, like fake it till you make it in the acting scene if it's like you're trying to build a resume. Because obviously, you got to start somewhere. You got to gain the experience or whatever. But you shouldn't fake it till you make it if it's like they see your resume, they cast you for something, a bigger role, and it's like, you don't know what the fuck to do, or you can't play this character that you've been casted in. So it's like, it depends.
So do you ever see that trickle down into like social media?
Oh, abso-fucking-lutely.
Now, do you think that's a good thing?
Yes and no. I'm gonna say no first off because and like a lot of my answers have been kind of yes and no, but that's because
that's okay.
It's all perception, and everyone has their
own opinion.
Yeah.
We have a show called In My Opinion.
Exactly, but yeah, and a lot of this is subjective, but I will say no because of the fact that a lot of people get dopamine from like, social media. Like, we post, we want to see 100 likes or whatever the fuck. But, we want to build our social media presence. And now with the algorithm, it always changes. There's so many people that are now influencers, content creators, et cetera. So a lot of our stuff is just kind of being overlooked or overshadowed or whatever. And, now I was like, okay, now I got to find more ways to like, boost my profile. How do I do that? Do I do something stupid? Do I, like fake, streams, plays, fake followers, whatever it is. So.
But there's nothing wrong with somewhat being overshadowed. You know what I'm saying? I my issue with the whole fake it till you make it thing, especially with, the indie game and up and coming actors, right? Or people that want to be in this acting game. I'm like, look, it serves you no purpose to talk so much about what you say you're doing. Forget about saying what you're doing. Do it.
Let the resume speak.
Don't like I cannot I don't say stand, but like for example, like right now, like recently since the strike was over yesterday and it's still in a tentative agreement position, right? And I had like 5 people on Instagram or on Facebook start posting how they got these auditions for these things. I'm like, wait. How did you get an audition for something that hasn't even been signed yet. It was probably signed today,
Right.
and you're telling me you got one before it was signed. How? And explain to me how the hell that worked.
Right.
Makes no sense. So what are you really doing?
Exactly.
Are you just putting up a front?
Some people want to seem busier than they actually are.
That's my point. That's my point. I'm like, look, man, there's people out there that say they do this, they do that, they do this. But then when you look at their Facebook or whatever, they're doing everything but that.
Yep.
This shit takes work.
It does.
Okay? Like, and again, I'm not saying I'm the greatest person in the world. I'm not. But if you go through my Facebook, there isn't really much there. All there is fucking pictures of podcasts that I'm working on, or a film that I'm working on, or a picture of a behind the scenes thing that I liked, because I'm a big behind the scenes person. Love that shit. You know, so I'm like, I don't know. I feel whatever happened to just being fucking humble and just doing what you do.
Yeah.
You don't need what's the word I'm looking for? You don't need recognition or
Like validation.
you don't need fucking validation from anyone. You're doing something already that a lot of people won't do.
Yeah.
That's already special in itself.
Go all the way the fuck off.
I'm serious. I'm
No,
dead,
for sure.
I'm dead ass.
Yeah.
Like, how many people say, I wish I could be an actor? Or
So
I want to
many.
be an actor, and they never even remotely try it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
All the people that say they want to do it, they do it for like one day. This is too hard.
Like me with weightlifting. Right? Maybe not too hard, but
You stuck
wasn't-
with it for
it
a
wasn't my
couple
thing.
months.
It wasn't my thing.
You were on the right trajectory, but
Eh,
basketball took over.
it's all right. Again, my favorite actor is not in shape, so that's okay. Who's your favorite actor? Let's go real quick. We'll end in 1 minute. Who's your favorite actor?
I have two. Mahershala Ali, and as well as, I want to say right now, it is. Ooh, you know what? No, I'm gonna just stick with Mahershala Ali for right now. But he's like my favorite actor.
Okay. And like, favorite movie? Is there, if there's one? I know it's hard.
Back to the Future.
Really?
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
I like
Expect
watching the
that.
trilogy every year.
You know what's interesting about Back to the Future?
Wasn't even born when that came out.
Those are one of those movies. Those are one of those movies that when they're playing them on TV, I will actually stay there for like, 15, 20 minutes. And I've seen it millions of times, right? I know it's got to be about your kids or whatever. I get it. But it's like, for some reason, that movie's so entertaining that no matter where it's at, I'll sit there and watch for a little while. Like, those are special movies.
Yeah.
Back to the Future is fucking special.
Oh yeah.
Where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me if you want to listen to the podcast, Situations Podcast, SITUASEANS Podcast. So you can find us, situationspodcast.com. And, we're, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that shit. Acting stuff, SeanMichaelWilliams.com. Music stuff, ShawneeDo.com. And yeah, if you want to watch Cabin of Horror, just
He's really fucking ahead of us, man. He got two websites. He got two. We don't even got one. Holy shit.
No, we don't.
God damn.
We
John,
don't.
that's what you need to do. Get us a website.
All right.
Thank you. Finally do something around this place. Did you have a good time here with us today?
Yeah, I had an amazing time. Thank y'all so much for having me on. I got to have you all on my podcast.
Absolutely.
All right.
We are game for that.
All right.
This guy, we got to schedule it because this guy's always doing so. He's always working.
Hey, I got a
dude.
whole family.
And he's got kids and all that, which is usually I'm the one that
know.
represents us in everywhere we go. Again, I appreciate you coming down, having a good conversation with us. Hopefully, you can come back before you go. When are you leaving?
Summer of next year. So
Summer
like
of next year?
August, yeah.
Hopefully, maybe we can get you on before you go.
I'm just saying this right off the bat. I'm definitely not flying to California, so it's got to be within a year. That's it. I'm not going to California.
Again, I appreciate you coming down, spending some time with us. John, you got anything else before we sign out?
I'm just trying to think of a catchphrase that isn't stolen.
Okay.
So I mean,
I'll be back.
it'd be ideal.
What was the impression that he has to do?
Oh, the Harry
Oh, the
Carey.
Harry
thing?
Carey?
Yeah,
No.
but
Oh,
he's
that's
not.
not
He's
bad.
not. Yeah, you can't put him on the spot like that. You
I'm not
can't put him
prepped.
on.
I'm not an actor. I'm not.
He
I'm not
does
like
a great
that.
Harry Carey, and he does a really good Arnold Schwarzenegger.
All right. Well, the next time I come onto the show, you got to do it.
All right.
This dude, but you put him on the spot, all of a sudden, all that machismo kind of goes out the window.
I never had any to begin with.
All right, you're good to go?
Yeah.
Good to go?
Yeah.
All right. And that's going to be our show for tonight. Like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, everything we said is in our opinion. And if you don't agree with it, it's too bad.